Today I'm going to show you how to use Excel. We're going to be creating a formula sheet in Excel. It's going to look like this that's showing on your right-hand side of the screen. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and click the blank workbook to get started on bringing in our formulas. The first thing that you'll notice is that you have your rows and your columns. Well, there's a specific style that I'm using for this sheet. And if you take a look at it, here's what the style looks like. It's not your regular Calibri Arial. It is a specific style that Excel has in their database. So you can pull down the arrow, and you can pick any style you want to create. Now, by doing it individually, you're only changing the style that's in that specific cell if you're doing it this way, okay? So it's not globally changing them. To globally change and have a specific style set, then what you need to do is go to the layout page, and you're going to change over here in the theme areas. You're going to pull this down, you're going to go font. What I'm using is the Tecton Pro. I like the look of that. You can pick any style you want, but that's the style that I'm working with. So now it'll say Tecton Pro up here. And the size, you can pick the size. I either pick 10, 11, or 12. And right now it's defaulted on 11, so I'm going to leave it as 11. Remember what I said, up here at the top, we can change our font, we can underline, we can change the color, we can fill each of the cells with different colors. Or you can have no fill. To select a cell, you can just left pick, or you can hold the mouse down, the left click mouse down, and then just select multiple cells. All right. So let's go ahead and get started on the sheet. So the first thing that I want to do is see how this lays out. Remember, I want to create a sheet that looks like this. It has everything fits on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So the first sheet I'm going to create is for my conversions. Now, one of the things I want to show you is down here. These are little tabs. So I can click on the word sheet 1 and I can type in conversions. I'm just getting everything set up. I can add another sheet and I can double click on the word sheet and I can type formulas. This helps you organize your data. Each one of these is a worksheet. So in each one of them, you can put different information and link it back to the other sheets within the same workbook. The other thing I want to show you is the page layout. So I like to have margins that might be a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, or you can just use the default that you have. I do a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch margin. Now, if you don't have the 1/2 inch border all the way around, you can go customize the margin and you can type them in each one of these. This is similar to your Word document. As soon as I type that in, notice now I get this dashed line. You can also view it as a page layout, and you can see that each one of the sheets is set. But I want to show you here that the sheet isn't set in the center. So when I start building this, you can see the grids. They will not print out, but you have a smaller area here than you do on that side, even though your margins are at a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch all the way around. What I want you to do is click on this little icon here, and it'll bring up your sheet, your page setup. Go to the margins and say horizontally and vertically on the page. Actually, I'm just going to use horizontally. That'll get my margins the same on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. All right, so now that we're starting, also notice that this rule bar and this rule bar, my pages are going down. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the view. And I'm going to go back to the normal so you can see what my cells and columns are. When you change it to page layout, oh, there they are. I'm sorry. You can see my cells are A1, B1, etc. So that's how we're going to be looking at it. I'm going to actually build it like this so I know I'm within the sheet when it prints out and looks nice. The other thing is there's a header up here. So if I click on this area up here, and I'll zoom in so you can see, all I have to do is scroll, hold the control key and scroll with your mouse. If you click up here in the white area, that's the header. So I'm just going to say formula sheet, and now I'm ready to go. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and start bringing in this information here. I'm going to create a conversion. Now on my sheet, what I've done is, let me get this organized. What I've done is the cells that are showing in yellow are going to be my input cells, and the cells that are in baby blue are going to be my answers. So there's formulas in these cells here. So I'm going to pull this over to the side, and I'm going to type conversions. And in this, I'm going to pull this up here. I just modified this so I can read as I'm going along. Notice I have a line that's going across. So all I have to do to get that line, and I'll scroll down, is highlight the cells, go to the Home tab, and I have these borders. And there's a bottom border, so I just clicked on the bottom. Now I've got that line. Now, the next thing is I'm going to type in 12 inches equals 1 foot. 3 feet equals 1 yard. 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. 43,560 feet squared equals 1 acre. Now, I'm going to pause here because that feet mark needs to be as an exponent. And to do that, I'm going to highlight in the cell, I'm going to highlight the 2, and I'm going to click on this little down arrow. It allows me to set the text different styles or change the text altogether. This is going to be a superscript. Okay? So now it looks correct. And then I've got 27 feet cubed is equal to 1 yard cubed. I have to do the same thing. But here's the other thing that's nice. You can actually highlight one, hold the control key down, or I'm sorry, the shift key down. No. Highlight one of them, hold the control key down, and highlight the other. Okay, that's not working. All right. It did before, it doesn't now for whatever reason. Anyway, so you go, hit that arrow down, superscript, and change that one and go superscript. So now it looks nice. Now the next thing that I want to do is notice that all of these are underlined. I typically don't put my border lines in until I'm happy with how the cells look like. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly put numbers in. So I'm just going to use the ones that I have here. And all I'm doing is typing the values in. Notice that for whatever reason, I just accidentally clicked that cell. It should be Tecton Pro. So 21552.25, 1257.1, 12.52, 25.16. Now, I just put those in columns. I can type in inches equals feet equals feet equals feet. Highlight that, make that squared, superscript, feet cubed equals, highlight that, superscript. Now, I know I want it in feet, yards, enter, miles, enter, acres, enter, and I'm just going to copy this. Control C is copy, so I highlight the cell that I want to copy, Control C, and I go Control V for paste. Now, I want yards, so I type YD and then delete the information that's around it. Sometimes it's easier to do it that way than having to come up here to the font, pulling it down. So you'll start figuring out these things on your own. Now, we know this is going to be a formula. Equal sign. This cell, that number of inches, divided by 12. So that's the formula. Equal sign. We know that cell divided by 3 is equal to yards. Equal sign, the cell that you want, with the conversion factor, 5280 of what you need, and enter, equals that divided by 435, enter, equals that divided by 27. All right, so I've got my formulas in here, but it doesn't look like this. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write input and answers. Now, I want to color code this so when I go to use this formula sheet again, I'll know what is current or what I have to input and what will automatically give me an answer. So I pick on the input cell and I come over here to this little paint pan or paint pail. I'm going to pull it down and I'm just going to pick this yellow. You can pick any color you want. I'm going to pick the answers, and I'm going to pick this blue. All right. Now, I'm going to highlight all these. All I'm doing is I pick the first cell and drag the mouse down, and I pick the yellow color, highlight these cells, and then I pick the blue color. Okay. These, anytime I change it, is going to be a input, and these will automatically be an answer. Now, I want to get it underlined. So notice that I didn't have this area over here. So I can highlight these two cells, and I can come over here and go, no border. I don't want to have to highlight one and then come up here and click. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of these cells, right click, and I'm going to go format cells. I can format these cells based on number, whether it's a number or date or currency, time. I can modify it by alignment. Do I want it center justified? Do I want it horizontal to the bottom? It's the same as these up here. I can change the font specifically. I'm looking at the border, so I'm going to click a line here and a line here. I could go catty-cornered if I wanted to, but that's not what I'm looking for. I could bring it in completely to a box, but that's not what I want to do either. So I'm just making the lines. Oops, I accidentally put those as dollar signs. If you do that, you can highlight the cell, and you can come up here and just say number. Highlight these cells, come over here, and just say number. If you want more decimal places, highlight the cells, and then pick on the button that says increase decimal or decrease decimal. All right, so now you basically have the first part of it. Well, I want these centered, and I want this text centered. This is just styling. It's however you want it to look. All right, now I'm going to go on and do the decimal degrees, or the degrees, minutes, and seconds to decimal degrees, and vice versa. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to say degrees, minutes, seconds to decimal degrees. And now I'm going to write, let's say, 36. Now I want the degree symbol. So I'm going to have to come up here to insert, and there's a symbol tab. So I click on the symbol, and you look for the degree symbol. You would probably go under the symbol font. So pull the arrows down. There's a bunch of different things. You can type in the word symbol, hit enter, and just scroll down and find the degree symbol. There's the degree symbol. Once you find it, pick insert and then close. There's a space in between there, so I'm going to delete that. Now the next one is 15 minutes. Now here's the thing. I'm hitting the minute sign, but it's still stuck in symbol. So I need to go back to cancel. Ah, that's why it is. It's still stuck in symbol. I need to go back to the Tecton Pro. So that needs to be Tecton Pro. There we go. Minutes and 21 seconds. So I've typed them in here. Now I'm going to go degrees, minutes, I can't spell today, minutes, and then seconds, and then it's going to be converted to decimal degrees. Helps if I spelled correctly. If you've misspelt a word, there is a spell check. For example, if you go to review and you click on spelling, it'll go and it'll spell and give you a spell check. Okay? Make sure you do a spell check before you're done. So I'm going to type in 36, 15, 21. Now, notice that this word goes outside that cell. So I want to keep it within the cell. So I'm going to go to the Home tab, and up here I'm going to expand that just so you can see it. It's going to say wrap text. I want to wrap that text. All right. So I'm going to highlight all of these cells because I'm going to put a border in them. And I'm going to do all borders. And I'm going to do center and bottom. So everything is all centered inside each of those cells. So I'm going to bring that back down. Get this organized. Now, if you remember the formula, you're going to say equal sign. I'm going to add 36 degrees plus the number of minutes divided by 60 plus the number of seconds divided by 3600. That's going to give me my decimal degrees. Now, depending on how many decimals you want to see, either carry it on forward if you have to. Now, the next one is going to be decimal degrees to degrees, minutes, seconds. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to say on this one, decimal degrees to degrees, minutes, seconds. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this text. And I'm going to say, I'm going to pull this down. You can move cells also. Highlight the cell you want to move, and then just drag. See that little symbol that looks like a plus sign? That means I can move it. So I can type in 36.2558333, and then I can actually put a symbol on that also if I wanted. When you use your second symbol, it holds the recently used symbols, so I'm going to pick that and go insert and then close. Okay, so I'm just going to copy. So I'm going to go Control C, Control V into that new cell, and I'm going to delete that symbol, because if I leave the symbol, then the computer thinks it's a piece of text. So in this formula, the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to use a formula. I'm going to just show it to you here. It is going to be equal sign, trunk. I'm going to truncate it, parenthesis. I'm going to hold the cell, comma 0, because I want to truncate it to the whole number. All right. On the second one, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to type in truncate, and I'm going to take this value, minus this, oops, I need an extra parenthesis, this value minus this value times 60, close parenthesis, comma, 0. I'm actually missing one parenthesis to close the entire thing. Okay, so make sure you have, okay, all the proper parentheses in place. So I've got a black set of parentheses that encompasses everything. I've got a red set of parentheses, notice that it highlights, that encompasses the math formula. I'm subtracting the 36.2558 from the 36 just so I can get the decimal portion of the degree, and I'm multiplying it by 60 to get them into minutes. And the 0, the comma 0, is because I want it to the whole number. So now the last one that I have to do is going to be equal sign, equal sign, and I'm not going to truncate this one because if I want to show decimals at the end just to carry them, that's fine. So I'm going to take the formula from the beginning, so I have to do it in pieces again. So I'm going to take the degrees, minutes, and seconds, or I'm sorry, the decimal degrees minus the degrees and multiply it by 60. And then I'm going to subtract the minutes, and I'm going to multiply the entire thing by 60. So look at the formula. I first have to figure out how many decimal degrees I have that are relative to minutes. And then I have to subtract off the minutes so I can get that decimal portion of the seconds. So this whole part right here is figuring out how to get the decimal portion of the seconds and then multiplying it by 60 to get the number of seconds. So then I'm going to hit enter. Now, if there's not enough parentheses, the computer program says, oh yeah, by the way, you don't have enough. I'm going to help you. Is this acceptable? If I click OK, it goes, sometimes it'll fix itself, or sometimes you actually have to go back in and show the last parenthesis. Click OK. So I'm missing a parenthesis on the beginning. So you can see the red parenthesis. I need one more parenthesis here. All right. So you can see that the first part of it, this gets done first, and then it's multiplied by 60, and then it's subtracted by the number of minutes to get the remaining seconds, and then multiplied by 60 to get the total seconds. All right. Now, I can round this down or show it by making it reduce the number of decimal places. Now, here's the nice thing about using Excel. It holds all of your decimal places and does not round. You have to specifically round it if you want it rounded. So I'm going to highlight the cells, I'm going to center them, and then I am going to put a border around the entire cells. Now, you can do a round. You can type in round to the nearest whole, and that's what the 0 says, whole number. If I put it to 2, it'll round it to the nearest decimal place. Notice it's 0 because we had all the 9s. I'm going to go ahead and say round to 0, to the whole number, and then I'm just going to get rid of all those decimal places. All right. Now, in this one, I forgot to do it on this page. You would actually highlight this and make it that yellow color, or whatever color you want to use, because these would be our inputs. And this would be our answers that's being created. All right, so I'm going to pause here and then we'll go on to the next portion of the formula sheet.